It's a wonderful thing. You don't have to finish a planted question to get a planted answer. Since this is the last Prime Minister's questions before October, can I take this opportunity to clear up some important issues? First, this week's relaunch was based around the plan to march knife criminals into accident and emergency departments to meet their victims. Can the Prime Minister tell me who came up with this bright idea?
Mr. Speaker, everybody must be concerned about the knife crimes, and everybody in this House must want to take all the action that is necessary. That is why we're proposing tougher punishment, tougher enforcement and tougher prevention. And on prevention, I think he would agree that the main thing that was proposed this week is this, that 20,000 families that are in great difficulty will have to sign contracts of good behaviour, and that 110,000 families will be subject to parental supervision. For the first time, we're taking all the antisocial behaviour families and trying to take action to deal at root cause with the problem.
But why can't the Prime Minister be straight with people and tell us who thought up the idea? The Home Secretary was asked on television, she was asked this: one of the proposals is that people caught carrying knives should be taken to see people in hospital who've been stabbed. Is that correct? And she answered, yes, it is. The next day, in the House of Commons, she was asked the same question, and she said, no, it wasn't. Doesn't the Prime Minister understand he won't get decent policies until he works out what went wrong last time? So let me ask him again, who thought of this bright idea?
It is right that people should have to face up to the consequences, of their crimes. But I'm saying to him, and I hope there is all-party support, tougher penalties, tougher enforcement with visible policing in our communities and community support officers, tougher prevention. And the main proposal that we're putting forward is that every problem family where there is action that has to be taken should be subject to parental supervision. Now, I would have thought that that should have the support of all the House.
Once again, absolutely no answer. No one owns up in this government. Let me try another issue, see if he can be straight on this one. It's car tax. The Prime Minister told me last month at Prime Minister's Questions that the majority of drivers will benefit from his changes to car tax. It is now clear that was simply wrong. So will he admit he was wrong and apologise?
I told him last week in the House, and the exchange we had last week, and I told him this, that the majority will be no worse off or better off as a result of what happened. And if I may say so, the Conservative Party said they would support action against pollution. The leader of the Conservative Party said there will be tough choices to make for the environment, and I won't shy away from them for one moment. Now, Mr. Speaker, the principle is that the less polluting cars pay less, the more polluting cars pay more. That's what he said to the House, and what he said on 19th March 2007, telling people that you can go green without paying the price. That's not leadership, that's not substance, but that's what he's trying to do now.
This isn't a green tax, this is a stealth tax. I think the Prime Minister's got a nerve to lecture me on consistency. I said he was useless a year ago and I haven't changed my mind since. But once again, absolutely no apology, no answer to the question. Let's see if he can give a straight answer on something else. The government announced today that after months of dithering, it is scrapping the 2p tax rise on fuel. Can he tell us whether this decision had anything to do with the Glasgow East by-election?
Mr. Speaker, it is right to announce, as we have done previously, our decision before the House rises. And let me just deal with this VED point and then excise duty. The former Conservative environment spokesman, the chairman of the Commons Environmental Audit Committee, said if we are going to use bigger differentials in vehicle excise duty, they have got to apply to existing second-hand cars as well. And he said the principle is the right principle. Now, the Conservatives said, vote blue, go green. They said they were going to take action against pollution. The minute they're challenged on it, they walk away. That's the history of the Conservative Party.
The message is vote blue and get rid of this useless Prime Minister. So, The fuel duty had nothing to do with the by-election, where it's a massive issue, just as presumably the 10p tax U-turn had nothing to do with Crewe and Nantwich, just as the plan to call off the election had nothing to do with the polls. Once again, he cannot be straight with people. Let's try another issue, one that we're debating in the House today. The Prime Minister said that MPs' expenses and allowances needed sorting out by this House. Yet when there was a vote in this House, leading members of his cabinet voted against reform and he didn't turn up. So can he tell us why wasn't he there?
Mr. Speaker, it is very unfortunate that the actions of a few people are brought into disrepute the whole of the House of Commons. And it's very unfortunate because the vast majority of people who come to this House want only to engage in public service. Now, Mr. Speaker, the principles that underline the approach that the Leader of the House is announcing is there's got to be the maximum transparency, there's got to be the maximum external audit, the end of the John Lewis or the so-called John Lewis list, and to refer these matters to the Commons Committee looking at these very issues with a view to having a cap on mortgage interest relief and a cap on other expenses. Now, that's the right way forward, and the right honourable gentleman should admit that there have been problems that he's got to deal with.
But the Prime Minister had a chance to vote against the John Lewis list and he funked it. He stayed in the Downing Street bunker. He could have come across and voted for it. Yet again...
Let the right honourable gentleman speak. Let him speak. Order. Be quiet. Let the right honourable gentleman speak. Right honourable gentleman.
Yet again, when leadership was required, he wouldn't provide any. I'm beginning to think the only thing in Downing Street with a spine is his book on courage. As Parliament rises for the summer, shouldn't the Prime Minister reflect on this? Everyone knows there are tough times ahead. Everyone knows difficult decisions have got to be taken. Isn't the one thing the British people are entitled to is a Prime Minister who can provide leadership and one who can tell us the truth?
And that's why, while he continues to duck the difficult decisions, we will take them. Action against terrorism, he ran away. Education to 18, he ran away. GP access, he ran away. Action against pollution, he ran away. All these issues, nuclear energy, he runs away. Mr. Speaker, during the recess, he needs to address the big substantive issues. This is a Conservative Party that gives no answers, offers no solution, and has no substance.